Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to Tea Talk Thursday. Sorry, I was a little late, guys, because I was in here doing motherly duties. Well, I don't know if it's considered motherly duties, but I was in here getting stuff done at home. But thank you for joining me. For those of you who do not know, my name is Tamika. I am the mouth of IG at Tamika Talks, and I'm the thought leader at Life and Pumps, where on my site, lifeandpumps.com, you will find things related to entertainment, health and wellness, travel, which I miss oh so much. I talk about current events and things of that nature. Of course, with this month being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we've been doing a lot of talking about breast cancer awareness, bringing you facts, also some companies for you to support. A lot of that information you can find over on Instagram at Tamika Talks. But today, I thought it would be a great idea to check in, as I try to do toward the end of the month, just to check in to see how the month has been going for everybody, what's been going on, and kind of give an update. So we are in this election season and we're in it. We are in the thick of it. We are on the countdown to it. And so many things are transpiring just across the country. If you live in the Philadelphia area, or even if you don't, if you have a television or if you're just online, hence if you're watching me, you are aware of the unrest. And I do mean unrest that's happening in the city of Philadelphia. Right now, our city is on like a mandatory curfew at 9 p.m. over the shooting, a police officer shooting of a Black man. Yeah, we have another hashtag, another video, another someone that we need to talk about, and it's draining, guys. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It is beyond draining. And one of the reasons I wasn't even gonna come on here today, because I'm like, I hate coming before you and not having good information. You know what I mean? Not feeling myself and not feeling great. I've really been in a rut because I'm like, why does this keep happening? Like, this is just getting out of control. Today is my uncle's birthday. Now, if you guys remember, my uncle passed August. What month is this? October. He passed in September, I believe. You know, the days are all running together. I do believe it was September that he passed. You know, guys, I was in DC for the funeral. And I was kind of in a rut today. Like, I was driving home after dropping the kids off. I'm listening to everything that they're talking about on the radio, you know, from the confirmation to the latest Supreme Court judge to this murder in Philadelphia to the long lines that people are dealing with to vote. Insane that someone told me they sit in line for 7 hours to cast their vote, something that is their right. As a country, we should be ashamed of that. I was really in a rut, kind of like, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. And I know that when I wake up on November 4th, the world's not going to be 100% better, regardless of which candidate wins. I don't know what we're going to do to move forward to repair. But what I will say is, as I got to the stoplight, I, looked up, and there are these classic cars around me, which was really strange considering that it's raining. And most people with classic cars don't take them out in the rain. But my uncle loves classic cars. And so I saw these cars and I smiled and I felt like, it was a glimmer of hope, him sending me a message, don't despair, everything's going to be okay, things are going to turn around. So I really want to believe that. And so that's part of the reason why I decided I should come on and talk to you guys today. So a few weeks ago, I had Elizabeth Rush on, and we talked about her book, You Call This Democracy. And I think that it's important that we kind of go over it again and talk about it in lieu of what my topic was for today. So my topic today is, can we still be friends if we disagree? And I feel like in times that were not so political, I feel like 4 years ago, we could have been. Absolutely. And I think 4 years ago, yes, we were still dealing with this election. It was cutthroat. It was dry. It was ugly. There were lots of lies. It was so much mudslinging going on. And it was okay that you had a friend that was a Republican or a Democrat. Like, you guys could still be friends and move on. I don't know that today that is the case. And I don't want to say that you can't be a Republican and a Democrat and be friends. I want to say that if your thought process is that you are casting another vote for 45, I don't know that we can be friends. So yesterday, someone that, I wouldn't call her friend. She's someone that I know. We've done some stuff together. I feel like we were friendly. posted, this is my only political post for the year. And on it, it says, we can both have strong opinions that we disagree on and still be friends. And a lot of us were kind of like, no, we can't. And here's why. As we've seen with this election, why so many people are up in arms about anyone who wanting to vote for Trump. And I don't mean the fact that you're a Republican and that's why you're voting for him, because I have met several Republicans who have said, I am a Republican, but I cannot vote my party. They're telling me, I need to vote with my conscience. At the end of the day, I need to be able to look at my children and feel like I made a good decision. And I respect that. And one of the persons, I even said to them, I respect, I guess respect is probably maybe a strong word. I don't know. But I have positive, maybe that's better, feelings for the person who maybe they're a millionaire and they're like, while I don't agree with what he's saying, I can't afford for my taxes to be raised. Do I think we should put a price on the cost of a life? No, but I'm not in their heads. I'm not in their bracket. So I don't know what that situation is like. But for the average middle American, there's nothing that you could say to me that would make me be like, oh, I understand why you're voting for him. I've been watching lots of recaps of all the things that have occurred over these 4 years. The things that he said about women, all of the accusations, and let's talk about those accusations. The fact that there are so many women who are claiming that he raped or attempted to rape them is a problem for me. And here's where it becomes a problem. Because when Bill Cosby was accused, and I do mean accused, so many people were quick to throw him in the trash. So many people. But he didn't have this many cases, and I'm not making an excuse for him, so please don't think that. I haven't taken a side. I don't know what happened. But what I do know is that he was accused, and we were all so quick to throw him away. Yet we have a president who has been accused of so many things that people kind of believe it based on his behavior. Now, whether or not it happened or not is not really for me to say. But I feel like the mere fact that he's been accused should be something that causes alarm to us. And I think that those are the things that I want you to think about. So if you have not cast your vote, I really want you to think long and hard about what casting your vote means. I really do. If you're watching the news and this civil unrest is like unnerving to you, it has your anxiety high. I have friends who want to go into the city, but they're afraid to go into the city. And this is not just white people. This is Black people. People don't want to get caught up in the turmoil. So many people really want to remain quiet, but we are really at a place that we cannot afford to remain quiet. I'm sure you're tired of all the text messages. I'm tired of them. And full disclosure, you may have gotten one from me because I've been participating in these phone chains, these text chains, and you name it chains just to get the information out. And I even told them, I said, this is probably on everybody's nerves because it's on my nerves. Every time I look at my phone, I'm like, okay. And then I had one person who was like, well, we're going to come and knock on your door and have a conversation with you. And I'm like, you don't need to. I already know who I'm voting for. I am clear. I don't need a conversation. But if you are one of those persons who maybe you have not cast your vote, and you are uncertain, I want you to remove the politics I want you to remove your political party from your vote. That's a better way to place it. I want you to remove your political party from your vote. I want you to put yourself in the place of someone who has been listening and hearing and enduring all of these harsh words that continually come out of his mouth. I want you to look at the practices that have been occurring in the White House. And then I want you to think back to 4 years ago. 4 years ago, as Obama was in office, and just the way he was treated and the things that he was ridiculed for and just everything that they put on him. If he were the president right now and had done half of what is happening, you guys know it would be an uproar. So I just want you to think about that. And then I want you to think about this confirmation that just happened. Whether you are Republican or Democrat, I need you to understand that the mere fact that they rushed someone unqualified through this process has to be unnerving for you. Has to be. And we're not even going to talk about the things that they said when Obama was attempting to bring someone in, and he still had 8 months left on his campaign. No one had cast a vote. He wanted to bring in someone that was qualified, that had already been in the court system, doing what they needed to do, trying cases. So I need you to think about that. So think about that long and hard, and what should we really expect come November 4th? Because the reality is he's already stated that he is not going to leave easy. And so that makes you wonder, okay, he put this woman in place. And if you watched her confirmation hearings, I watched the one day and I could not watch the second day because I listened as she described her children and I was disgusted. I think it is amazing that people of whatever color you are adopt children, no matter the color. I think that is great. And I think if you are a loving, caring mother, father, whatever you are, and you want to open up your home to a child, I think that is the best thing you could do. I believe children are a gift from God, and I understand that not everyone can have them. And there, whatever the circumstances were that put these children in the situation where they needed to be put up for adoption, it is what it is. I think it is great when I meet people that have adopted children, regardless of race. They don't care. They just want to give love to children. So I feel like I need to say that because I don't want you guys to think that my feelings about her adopting these Black children are because of the fact that she's white and they're Black, because I don't really care. I feel like love is love and you should love who you love. What I was so angry about is she described her, and I don't want to call it love. She described them through their trauma. Never once did she talk about how smart they are, or how they're thriving in school, or how they love to run, jump, play, any of that. She talked about what she rescued them from. These children should not have to relive that rescue moment or those moments every day. And I can only imagine how they felt watching her describe them through their trauma while she described her birth children through, through just a different light. Like they were amazing, they were smart, they were bright, they were this, they were that. She didn't use any of those words, any of those adjectives for her adopted children. That had me so angry that I could not watch it again. So I only hope that that is not what she intended. God, I hope that's not what she intended. And I hope that she is providing a lovely, lovely home for them and not the focus being on a rescuer. Yes, Mia has said it right there. She said it right there. That was some white savior centering for sure. My God, it was. When I tell you guys, my soul hurt. Like I couldn't watch it anymore. A piece of me died watching that because no one should have to live through their trauma. And, I do a lot of health and wellness writing. And one of the things we talk about is not identifying people by their ailment or their disease. So for me to see that, I'm telling you. So then when I look more into her and realize just kind of the things that she stood for and all of that, and there's some things that I feel like we're just not going to agree on. But as a woman, I expected so much more. So I already know that come November 4th, because we already know that everyone is going to, a large percentage, let me not say everyone, a large percent of the population will not vote for Trump. He will not win again. I mean, we do know that as a country, we are the laughing stock. I believe that he will not win. I'm claiming it. And I need you guys to not prove me wrong and go out and vote the right way. But we do know that come November 4th, there's going to be a lot of things in motion that they're going to try to get this vote overturned. So I need for us to show out in numbers so great that there is no reason for dispute. Like, no reason. He cannot win the popular vote. Now, granted, he didn't win it the last time, but like we stated, the Electoral College is something that needs some work. And so my hope is that when this comes to Supreme Court, and it's coming, we already know it's going to get there, that the justices that are there do the right thing. We'll see what happens. But let's get back to what happens when you and your friends don't agree. So as I stated on the post, when she stated that, I don't think I'd ever thought whether or not she was a Republican or a Democrat. She seemed pretty cool. We all hung out. We did things. I never paid attention And it got me to thinking about all the other people that I know who aren't saying anything. They're not encouraging people to vote. They're not doing anything. And it causes me to wonder, well, where do you stand where this is? And last night I was like, I feel like I should write on everybody's post. Tell me, where do you stand in this election? And I said, no, don't do that. That's not okay. But what I and a few other people said to her is, unfortunately, we can't be friends because the lives of my children are at stake. And it is. Whenever my husband, my son, my daughter, when they leave the house, and ironically, I'm not afraid for myself. I don't know what that's all about, but whatever. When they leave the house, I have to say an extra prayer that they are going to return home. I know that my son has a hot head and, he is a teddy bear, but he's 6'3". And when people see him, they're like, oh, you never know. And I know that sometimes he might say some things that might get you angry. He's not going to be like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, whatever. He is very polite, but anything could happen. And he could come across that one person that is afraid. And we all know what has been happening with people who are supposed to protect us, but they're afraid of us. We're all living in this stereotype. And the longer we have someone in office who continues to create this division, this is going to be hard for us. We're always going to have people in the streets protesting, and I'm not going to call it rioting, and I'm not going to address the looting because, I've said before, I don't have an answer for that. I don't. I do think it is our right to protest, and we absolutely should when we don't agree. But as we've seen, and as if you've been watching a lot of the commentators, they're saying, what do you expect people to do when peaceful protests yield no results? The only time people are getting results is when windows are breaking, stores are suffering, the economy is suffering, because money talks, and we know that. So I'm not, how you feel on that is how you feel on that. It's not for me to tell you how to feel, and it doesn't even really matter at this point. But what does matter is if we are friends and we call ourselves friends, and you have not taken the time to step back and wonder, I wonder how this is affecting her. How does it make her feel? I was really at a place yesterday of, I don't want to call it loneliness because I don't consider myself loneliness, but like despair, because, it brought me back to that moment when I was diagnosed with breast cancer and I shared it with people, and the amount of people who kind of backed away from me. You guys know me. I am extremely social. If it's a party, I'm at the party. If something going on, I'm going to be it. I'm going to dance. I'm going to be in the mix. And there will always be so many people with me in the mix. People would invite me to things. We would do this, we would do that. But I noticed that when I stated I had breast cancer and I was upbeat. I mean, there were times that, it was the worst. And I shared, the good and the bad. I shared all of it because I wanted to be very real, authentic, and let people know. But there were some people who just couldn't handle it. And it was fear. And I was kind of like, what are you afraid of? I'm the one dealing with this. But it brought me back to those moments where those people stepped away and didn't speak up and didn't say anything. But then when they realized that I was kind of on the upswing, then they wanted to be around. I don't need friends like that. I don't. And so for me, it's very like this election. If you can't be with me in the trenches, I don't want you to be with me when I've overcome. I just don't. And I think that this election has caused a lot of us to reevaluate our friendships, conversations that we've had, and maybe something that was stated that at the time you might have been a little like, what's the underlying message behind that? And now you're really like, yeah, my eyes are opening. And the other thing is, if you have children, the conversation that you have with your kids, especially if you have teenagers, is going to be different. And it's also going to be that they have to be mindful of their children. So crazy enough as it is, their Instagram pages popping up about everything at this point. And a lot of them are about no place for hate. And so the private schools in my area have created pages, and they're talking about, just how the students of color have felt in these predominantly white schools, and how, no one has help them or listen to them or sought for solutions. So a young lady in my community created a page, and on this page, she literally spoke out about her outrage of what was happening in the city. of Philadelphia, that is, how this young man who we all saw on video, my God, we saw it on video as he was shot multiple times by the police. And she talked about her outrage and how she felt and, just how the racism and everything. And so another student in the area commented, and they were going back and forth. And, the students kind of like, go Trump, and saying this and saying that. And it was fine. And I feel like our children should have these discussions. They should be respectful, but they should have these discussions. They should talk about how they feel. And I feel like, if we don't agree on this, and if you don't see a problem with racism, I need to know, because we should not be in the same circle, because if something happens, you're never going to have my back. And that's important. My problem became when the mother of the Trump supporter decided to share it in an adult group. And it took a turn. It took a huge turn, because other people were commenting. There were some parents who were like, yeah, she needs to control her child. Why would she do that? Why are you commenting on what children are doing? They're not hurting anybody. We don't have to agree with them, but we need to let them iron it out. They're old enough that they can do that. And so that's another example of where, you've got to look at your friends and what they're saying. I love the way she stood up for herself. She did not back down. She was like, listen, we can't agree on this, and we damn sure can't be friends, because you don't care that people are being murdered senselessly. You don't care that, these things are happening and our president is not addressing them. And his answer is to bring in the National Guard, as though that's going to cause people to stop doing anything. At this point, people don't care. They're like, no, we are going to turn this city up until you listen. And you know what's happening? People are listening, because these businesses are tired of fixing their windows. They're tired of doing this and they're tired of doing that. And then you hear those people who are like, well, I don't understand why they would be tearing up their neighborhood. Where they're going to go when this is all said and done. And, that makes sense. Yeah, but, there's stores everywhere. And what someone said, which I thought made a lot of sense, is that they don't own anything in that community. They probably attempted to get Lysol and wipes out of those stores, and where you can normally buy Lysol for $2, that store was selling to them for $6, $7, and $8, because there was a lot of that going on. We're talking about an area that is like low to mid income, where that people, it's an area where, you would probably say that people threw the people away, that type of thing. And so it's like, no one cared about them. You didn't care about them when people were price gouging them, when, things were happening in their area. They couldn't get this or they couldn't get that. Now you care about these stores because people are tearing them down. Stop. Miss me with it. Miss me with it. I don't agree with looting, because I don't want you in jail because you decided to break a window and steal a TV or whatever it is you're doing. However, it is not for me to pass judgment on it, because like I said, we've done peaceful and now people are acting out. But we've got to do better. And I believe that we are all prepared. We're going to go to the vote. We're going to go to the polling places. If you're planning to vote in person, as I've stated so many times before, please make sure you have a plan of action. Know that, like I said, there are people who have been standing in line for 7 hours to vote. Be prepared. If you have to, phone a friend, have somebody bring you a meal if you didn't bring a meal, have somebody bring you a chair if you need a chair. If you can and you've already cast your vote, volunteer. They need as many hands on deck as they can get, especially in these swing states. So November 3rd, that's where I'll be as a Pennsylvania resident, out helping other people get to the polls and doing what I can to make certain that we vote for democracy and not about our money or whatever. We vote democracy in terms of how we want to live and how we want our country to be. So if you are dealing with an issue with someone that you consider a friend and they're saying some things and maybe you are uncomfortable addressing them on social media, send them an inbox and let them know that they have offended you, and give them the opportunity to say why. Like, and I do this all the time on my Facebook page. And I said, if you're on my page and you're still here, because clearly, I don't know why you'd still be there as a Trump supporter, because I make there's no way anyone would think that that's who I support and how I feel about him. But I always say, tell me why you want to vote for him. Like, explain to me what he's done, what moves you in that way. Like, convince me. Like, if I am an undecided voter, convince me. And I think that we owe that to one another. So I feel like if you have a friend and this friend is on the fence, or maybe they've been quiet. Reach out to them and have a conversation, because no matter what happens on November 3rd, November 4th, the world is going to be very different. And what we do, what our actions are, we're already at a place where people feel very comfortable saying whatever out their mouth. And, it's a thing where it's like, this is what you thought before. You just weren't comfortable enough to say it. Now you're comfortable. So November 4th, I feel like it's going to get worse. I absolutely do. And I think it's going to get worse because, he is a sore loser. Let me be clear. He is a sore loser. And because he is a sore loser, I think that there's going to be so much retribution that it's going to come down on this. So we have to be ready and prepared. Once again, I want you to think about, when you head to the polls, what does this mean? When I cast this vote, what does this mean for our country, for our future? Some of us, we're older. We need to make certain that we leave this country in a way that our children can be proud of. Climate control. There's so many different things that we need to think about. But I want to make certain that what you also do is you look for this book. You call this Democracy: How to Fix Our Government and Deliver Power to the People. Because we need to get to a place where people are ready to vote and realize even more the importance of their vote, and that their vote counts. Because that's the big thing that so many people are saying, I didn't vote, or I haven't voted in years because my vote didn't matter. Right now, I feel like people are getting that message. And while they're getting it slowly but surely, we want to make sure they continue to get it. So the one thing that we want to be doing on November 4th, once these election results come in, is we want to look at the way we vote, how we vote, voter suppression, all of that. And I think part of that becomes overturning the Electoral College. I'm doing a lot of research on it, and I will share with you everything that I find and how the states we can pull together to make certain that every vote counts. So that people feel powerful. Like, right now, so many people feel like they just have nothing. And I think that's what adds to the anxiety and to the fear and to all of it, because they're watching it on the news, they're watching it unfold, and they don't know what to do. They feel so helpless. But we've got to get to a better place. So that's all I had. Thank you guys for joining me and listening. Don't forget, if you have not voted, please get your ballot in. Cast your vote as soon as you can. November 3rd, if you're going to the polls, make a plan of attack. And once again, if you have a friend and they don't understand the importance of their vote in the right way, it is your responsibility to share it with them. And then at that point, if they don't agree, unfriend them. Don't be friends with them, because there's no way that you can say you love me and not care that we have someone in office who's basically telling people it's okay to murder me on the street or do whatever. So that's all I have for you guys today. I will be back at 7:00 because I am going to talk with some breast cancer survivors, and we're just really going to talk about what life after breast cancer has been like. Hopefully you guys can join me, but if not, I understand. Have a great day, and I will see you next week.